Alright, congratulations. We are now at the very last section of our math class. This is section 8.2, the quadratic formula. Yes, that's right, the quadratic formula. So, I'm telling you what, this is the easiest way to solve a quadratic equation, and it works for all equations in no time. All you have to do, one formula, works for all. And what I'm going to give you right now is the quadratic formula. So, generally looking, a quadratic formula has that form: an ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. And you are probably well aware of that up to this point of the year, right? So, to solve for this equation, notice a here and b and c, they are the coefficients of the equation, of the quadratic equation. So, to solve for this equation here using the quadratic formula, the formula is going to look like this. Quadratic formula. X equals minus b. What you need to know is the b coefficient in your equation. Minus b plus and minus the square root. It's a long expression, but I agree, but it's a powerful expression. Square root of b squared minus 4ac. And all of that quantity here is divided by 2a. So this is your quadratic equation. Now, I want you to pause the video, take a moment here, write this formula down, and please remember it. No matter how far you're going to go later in math, you are going to see this formula again as long as you're still solving quadratic. And believe me, you're going to see this equation a lot of time, in whether you're in chemistry, you're in physics, you're going to solve a lot of quadratic equations. So this is the formula that saves you for the day. Alright, so now, that is it. That is all the discussion about. So now we are going to get into really how to use it into one of our first quadratic equation. So let's try to solve my first quadratic equation for the day. Example 1 of using the quadratic formula. So I am going to solve my equation. We can look back at some of the equations that we solved earlier using other techniques. So how about we solve x squared plus 8x, okay, minus 20, okay, and equal to 0. Alright, so this equation here. Now, the only thing you need to be concerned in when you're using the quadratic formula here is that you have to be able to spot out where the a is, where the b is, and where your c is. So in my equation right here, a, the value of a is actually a 1. You don't see that. In other words, is the leading coefficient, the coefficient in front of the x squared. Now you see nothing in front of the x squared. I have mentioned this so many times. Seeing nothing in front of the x squared doesn't mean there's a 0. It means a equals 1. The coefficient of the x squared term is a 1. B is that, which is positive 8. Once again, dual count signs. Your c term is a minus 20. Okay? So now, to solve the equation, as long as you have spotted a, b, and c, solving this equation is on the fly. Okay? So what's going to happen here? You're going to plug it in the formula. We go straight into the formula. So x, which is the solution of the equation, the value for this equation, is going to be minus b. Now b myself is 8, right? So minus b has to be minus 8. Am I right? Well, that's just because of the formula. Well, once again, the formula says so. The formula says we have to do minus b. So I put minus 8 right there because 8 itself is b. Okay? And then plus and minus. Why plus and minus? That's just the formula. Okay? Because the formula says so. Okay? And then square root. Okay? That's what it follows with this formula. And then my b squared. So now b squared here, I have to do 8 squared. Okay? And once again, do count signs together with that, if there is sign. And then minus 4. Why minus 4? Because the formula says so. Okay? Minus 4 times a this time here is 1, so minus 4 times 1, okay, times C, my C value here is a minus 20. Okay, so I put the minus 20 all together here in the parentheses because my C value is actually a minus 20. And all over 2 times 1. Once again, 1 here is my A value. Okay, so at this point right here, I have completed plugging in the formula. Okay, so what am I going to do next? Just compute the value. Okay, it's just that easy. So x equals, now, of course, at this point here, we have to follow with the order of operations, right? And it's we're in the intermediate algebra right now, so order of operations, I expect that you have to know all this. So minus 8 plus or minus square root. Now underneath the square root, let's see, 8 squared is a 64, right? Now minus 4 times minus 20 is and times 1 is a positive 80, am I right? Positive 80, right? And all over 2, right? So which will reduce down to minus 8, right? Plus and minus square root of, here I have 844, okay? Over 2. Now, we have spent a large amount of time, a significant amount of time working with square root, right? So please tell me, what is the square root of 144? Okay, so good. That would be x equals minus 8 plus minus 12 over 2. Okay, so what is this? Plus and minus sign means, once again, it means one of my x value is going to be minus 8 plus 12 all divided by 2. And the other x value here is going to be x equals, maybe I should switch to a different page here. But so on my back page, okay, so my x here, my first x value here is minus 8, right? Plus 12 over 2. And the other x value here, the other solution is minus 8 minus 12 over 2. See? That's it. It's that easy. It's that easy. Nothing is easier than this. And then x here is equal to, now, minus 8 plus 12 is a positive 4, right? Divided by 2. And the other x is equal to, now, minus 8 minus 12 is a negative 20 minus 20, okay, over 2. So my solutions, x equals 2, x equals minus 10. That is my equation, my solution of the equation. Okay? So we can now look at another example of solving another quadratic equation using the quadratic formula. Okay? And once again, believe me, with this formula right now, with this formula in hand, you are totally free of limitations. I mean, you don't have any more limitations. You can just use this formula for any equation. So how about, let's look at another example. Example 2 here, I want to solve quadratic equation again. Okay, this time I have x squared plus 4x plus 13. And you notice we have solved one of this sometime before when we were discussing about the completing the square methods, right? But here we're solving this equation again using the quadratic formula. So my A for this problem is a 1. Once again, it's the leading coefficient, the coefficient in front of the x. Okay, my B is plus 4, and my C is a 13, positive. Okay, so putting it into the formula, what I have, x equals minus 4, because it has to be minus B, plus or minus square root of B squared, which is 4 squared, minus 4, times A, which is 1, times C, which is 13. Okay, and all divided by 2 times A, which is 2 times 1. And so the next step here is to go ahead and compute what's inside the square root. So what I have here is a 4 squared is a 16, and 4 times 13 is and times 1 is a minus, minus 52 here, okay, and all over 2. And so continuing a little further, I got minus 4, okay, plus or minus square root. Now underneath the square root, I'm going to have 16 and minus 52 is going to give me a minus 6 here with a 36, okay, minus 36 underneath the square root, and then over 2. Now, what is going on here? Now, before chapter 7, if we're learning this formula before chapter 7, then we wouldn't know how to solve this, because we wouldn't know how to take the square root of a negative number, okay? But here, at this point, you know how to find the square root of negative 7. What is that? Well, minus 4 is there, plus and minus. Square root of negative 36 is 6i, okay? Yes, we have learned that, right? Divided by 2. So, once again, the plus and minus sign right here, basically it means one x value equals minus 4 plus 6i over 2. And the other solution here is x equals minus 4 minus 6i over 2. And then you should break the solution down here. I mean, you can leave it like this way, that's fine too. That's one way of how you can express your final answer here in terms of complex number. But then if you want to break it down, you can do minus 4 over 2 plus 6 over 2i, right? And the other x here is x equals minus 4 over 2 minus 6 over 2i. And so my first x value here is actually a minus 2 plus 3i. That's one of it, right? And then the other solution for x is going to be minus 2 minus 3i. That's my solution to this equation, okay? Actually, I will have to take back my word a little bit. Maybe this form right here, this expression right here is not very welcome as a final answer. So how about, I mean, I want you guys to go to this part here to give me like the reduced version of the complex value. Okay, so this is really our final answer. I don't want you to stop right there. Okay. All right. So that is how we can solve a quadratic equation using the quadratic formula.